All right, it is
Present.
Councilmember Westover.
Here.
Councilmember Walker.
Here.
Councilmember Canales.
Here.
Councilmember Hooker.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hands.
Present.
Mayor Perigo.
here.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you. If you're able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moving down to agenda item number 4. 4A, we have approval of the regular council meeting agenda for July 14th, 2025.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Thank you. I have a motion. Can I get a
Second.
support? It's been moved and supported. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You got that, Joel? 7 ayes. Agenda item number 5A is approval of the regular council meeting minutes from June 23rd, 2025.
Make a motion to approve the council meeting minutes from June 23rd.
It's been moved and supported. It's been moved. Can I get a support?
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. And you got that, Joel? 7 ayes, all right. All right, we're gonna move down to agenda item 6A, which is a motion by Councilmember Walker to reconsider the June 23rd, 2025 vote regarding the sale of the city-owned property commonly known as the Girl Scout property. Joel, can I please get a staff report
Sure.
on what led us to this?
Thank you, Mayor. As City Council is aware, at your June 23rd meeting, the City Council voted 4 to 2 to approve the sale of the Girl Scout property to the Allegan Development Company. Everybody around the table and in the audience walked out of that meeting believing that the vote had passed. We only had 6 members of our council here because Mayor Perigo was in New York on a business trip and could not attend the meeting. Shortly after that meeting, in consultation with our city attorney, we understood and came to the realization that for us to sell property per section 13-9 of the city charter, we need a 5/7 vote. That was explained to council both in an email and then again in the report that was in your packet. And that the only way that city council could review this again is if we made changes to the purchase and development agreement, or if a council member that was on the prevailing side of the vote made a motion to bring it back for full consideration. I met with Councilmember Walker along with Mayor Perigo to discuss the situation. In your packet is an email that Councilmember Walker sent myself, and I included it in your report, in your packet, stating that he's requesting that we have a revote on this issue. So we have a total of all 7 council members have the opportunity to vote on this issue. The way this would happen this evening is there would be 2 motions. One would be the motion either by Councilmember Walker or Councilmember Zeter, since they were on the prevailing side, to reconsider this vote. Once that motion is made, supported, and adopted, then we would have a motion to approve the purchase and development agreement and have the mayor and clerk sign the agreement. A second is needed for that as well, and the vote must have 5 affirmative votes. Both motions have to have 5 affirmative votes. To remind council what we're discussing, the Girl Scout property is city-owned land on the north side of the Kalamazoo River. A plan that was presented is to build a total of 38 units, 26 condos, 12 townhomes. Through infrastructure, they're going to invest about $1.6 million and some change. They are offering the city $100,000 for this parcel. And then as part of that, they are going to donate the lower half of that. So it would go to the Allegan Conservation District to be an outdoor learning lab and a public walking trail. Some of the concerns that have been raised through this entire process, some concerns that were raised by a couple council members. Density. The master plan for this area calls for this type of housing. So our master plan, that we went through and developed calls for this type of development to occur. Concerns about noise issues. We have current ordinances that regulate noise. If your neighbors are throwing raucous parties, you call 911 and the police come. Utility concerns about sanitary sewer and water. I've had our water utilities department look into this. We've also had Abbenmarsh reshoot, that's a surveying term, the elevations for the pipes and everything that are in this neighborhood. They all are constructed to standards, and they all work fine. This extra development will not have an impact on the utilities. Traffic concerns. There was concerns mentioned at the last meeting about public road width. The average road width in this area is 20 feet wide. This is the same width of other public roads that the city has, just to name a few: Jackson Street, Kalamazoo, Ida, Jenny, and Cora. There's concerns about the private road issue. When we did the infrastructure project in this neighborhood in 2018, 2019, the year escapes me exactly, but it was one of the first ones I did here. We did have a section of the street, or a section of the street network here that was privately owned. We worked with a handful of property owners there so we could pave that road and continue to plow it. And part of that was an easement that it would not be a public road, but it will be accessible to city vehicles for maintenance, ingress, and egress, because it doesn't make sense to have a snowplow truck come to a dead end of a road and put it in reverse and back up. That just isn't, logistical for us to do it that way. We can put in signs that say private road if that is a concern with the city council. And speed. The speed is low in this neighborhood to begin with. It's mostly due to the narrowness of the streets. In your council report, I referenced a study. It was also discussed at the last meeting that narrow streets is a traffic calming method. And you could read that report, council. Hopefully you took a chance to read the report and educate yourselves about, traffic calming and width of streets and its impact on it. We also had our traffic engineer review this plan, and he sees no negative impact on the street network in this neighborhood with this development. That memo communication is in your packet as well. So with that, does council have any questions for me about the process and how we got here this evening, knowing that everybody walked out that June 23rd meeting thinking that the vote passed?
Is there any questions amongst council? All right, seeing none, I would like to take this time to open up the floor for public comment in regards to the sale of the property that I know we all call the Girl Scout property. So if anyone has any public comment on this subject, please approach the podium and state your name and address.
I'm Matthew Pivovar. My address is 329 Monroe, but for purposes of this, I'm the trustee of 202 Riverview Park Drive. At the last meeting, it was suggested that in order to understand how things are going to work there, that we look at the easements that were supposedly granted to the city to put in the utilities. I went to the Register of Deeds, and they confirmed none of the easements have been recorded. So for the water and sewer lines running along Riverview Park Drive, which is a private street, there are no easements. What that means to the development, I don't know. That means that any property owner along that property has a right to object to the connection of those utility lines to the development, since they never granted the easement in order to install those on their property. Those easements may exist someplace, but it's been 6 years and they have not been recorded. If they are found, they may or may not be valid depending on what a judge says, but it's not up to the city now to decide. That's going to have to be determined by either a court or administrative court. If they are found, though, then there was a concern raised by the fact that at the time that the easements were requested, that the city knew they were doing a development and intentionally did not tell the people that were granting the easements that a development was being worked on. So again, those easements could be challenged for false pretenses. The story that was given to all the property owners is that the easements were needed to replace the lead water lines because of the lead water scare in Flint, and that the sewage line was 65 years old. There was no mention of the development. If there had been, we could have refused to grant the easement. The city would have a very difficult time doing eminent domain for the benefit of a developer. But even if they had succeeded, then the property owners would have been compensated for granting an easement to a new development when they were told they were granting an easement to an existing neighborhood. If the easements are found, however, and recorded, and if they are determined to be valid, I found a draft of the easement that was sent to us to sign. I won't read the whole thing, but the relevant part is the city acknowledges and agrees that, then there's a laundry list of things that you guys agree to. The final one being, any road constructed in this easement area shall remain a private road owned by the grantor. Later in the document it states, the grantor reserves the right for itself, its successors, and assigns the right to terminate the easement in the event of breach by the city of any of the items or conditions or obligations of the city. So if the city's going to be connecting this, and if the impression or anything in writing has been given to the developer that that street is available for use, that would be a violation of this easement. Of course, we have to wait to see. None of the property owners have been able to look and see what the exact language is on the easements because, as I said before, they have not been recorded. Now, the other thing is, I stumbled across this today when I was at the Register of Deeds. I'm going to call it the north entrance to the neighborhood, the one that's closest to the lumberyard, was completely redone in 2019. There's no easement for that, and a portion of that crosses onto private property. So if the city engineer and traffic engineers are assuming there's two exits from the neighborhood, an easement would need to be obtained from that property owner. I can't tell from the drawings that I was able to obtain off of the Register of Deeds website whether it's a 6-inch or a 3-foot encroachment onto the private property. But at the time that that was put in for access and for the utilities, an easement should have been obtained for that area. I would suggest that until all these issues are resolved, that you postpone the vote, because if you vote and sell the property to the developer and any of the property owners want to challenge the easements, you force their hand and they have to interplead the development company as a defendant. And it can't be resolved just between the property owner and the city. As long as the city owns the property, any of these easement issues, whether they are litigated or negotiated, can be handled between the city and the individual property owners, and the developer, and what I'm assuming would be some very expensive attorneys, would not have to be involved. If they are involved and you were to lose, then of course the developers would have, I'm assuming, indemnification from the city if they was represented to them that you had all the easements in place. I thought maybe there was a reason that the easements were not recorded, so we took the time at the Register of Deeds to check easements granted to the City of Allegan since I think 2010. Over 300 of them have been recorded, but for some strange reason, none of them in this neighborhood have been recorded. So I don't know why. I'll leave it at that.
Is there any other people with public comment about this subject?
Yes, me. Stephen Smalla, 116 Walcott. First of all, I want to thank Councilmember Walker. You thought outside of the box, and I know you did a little investigation into the neighborhood there because you knew that the property owners weren't happy. And I appreciate the things that you've done and suggestions that you made, and really appreciate that. You took our feelings into account, and you seem to be the only one here that has, and I really appreciate that. And second of all, Mr. Dye, you commented that those roads are, it says here that the roads are 20 foot wide. Well, then in your comments, you mentioned that they average 20 feet. I will tell you that the roads on both sides of that current gate are 15, the asphalt is 15 feet wide. Okay, just so you know, just wanted to pass that on. And I want to say thank you, Matt, for doing all your research, and I really appreciate it, so, thank you.
Is there any other public comment on the Girl Scout property?
There seems to be a lot of focus on the width of the roads. That is not the problem. The problem is between 7 AM and 8 AM, you're gonna have 80 cars trying to leave for work and school, one gate. And probably a road that's, I don't know, 100 feet long. So people will literally pull out of their driveway and be in a traffic jam. There's only one way out of the development, and everybody's gonna be trying to get to work at the same time in the morning.
Joel, do you have any information that you can share at this time?
Most definitely. So,
Has been raised?
yeah, so for the questions that are raised, I just checked with our utility director. There are no utilities in the private road areas, period. All utilities terminated at the property lines. So that should not be of a concern for, anyone in the room or for council. I did use the word average. I should have just said 20 feet. We went out and we measured all the streets. They are 20 feet in width. The other thing that was mentioned, council, you've done your due diligence. You've read the development agreement. If something happens where in the process of getting approvals from the planning commission or the city council through a rezoning, if they have to rezone the property to make it happen, or if there's a lawsuit that's brought upon this project that's for some reason or somehow, and the developer, doesn't prevail, we have the right to claw it back. So the agreement's been written by the city attorney. If you've had questions about the development agreement, you would have reached out to me over the past, month and a half, and I haven't received any questions from council on the language in the agreement. So I'm of the assumption that everyone on this board is comfortable with that agreement language, or you didn't need clarification, or you understand what's in it. And then, just the final thing of recording easements. Yeah, that's something we'll look into, why previous clerks or, staff didn't record those easements. I'm shocked to hear over 300 easements have been given to the city since 2010, but that's also stuff we'll gladly work with the county clerk and identify all those easements that have been recorded at the Register of Deeds, because I don't have record of that off the top of my head. But for moving forward tonight, this is the last opportunity to move forward with this sale. There isn't a postponement or a tabling or anything like that. Any questions of staff or of council for staff?
Okay, so you said the clawback. If there is an easement issue, if it is litigated prior to that point, let's just assume that happens. Prior to that point, we would claw back, but will we be sued by the developer?
I'm not going to answer questions, and I'd encourage council not to answer questions of hypothetical questions. No one knows. And we have it in the agreement. You've read the agreement, Councilmember Walker.
Yeah, but okay, I understand that.
And I'll just say it, that what we're hearing right now,
Okay,
I don't believe it. I've checked with Doug Swears, our water utility director. There are no utilities in that private road easement. There's 3 or 4 properties.
okay.
There are 2 exit points to this neighborhood. There's not one, there are 2. We have 2 right-of-ways that connect to River Street in this neighborhood. So those concerns have been addressed. Staff would have not brought this forward if it was, a haphazard or baked idea. And City Council, you've had as your goal back in 24, 25, those are the new goals up there of, continue working with private property owners on the development of downtown properties and to continue to attract new housing, commercial and industrial development citywide. That is a goal of the council.
Working with private
Okay.
property owners.
Yep.
To continue to attract new housing, commercial and industrial development citywide. The second bullet point on number 2.
I'm not going to do this back and forth with audience, so is there any other questions from council? Looking this way. Mike, you look like you're pondering. I'll go this way. Anything on this end? Any further questions, comments?
Yeah.
I am not seeing none, so I'm going to move on to the motion that we will need from either Councilperson Zeter or Councilmember Walker to bring back up for reconsideration the sale of the Girl Scout property. And that needs to come from one of you two.
Well, I said I would do it, and so I am asking to reconsider the motion from June 23rd on the Girl Scout, sale of the Girl Scout property.
Okay, thank you. So there's a motion on the table. Can I get a support?
I'll support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor?
Can we do a roll call vote? We've been having issues with not all council members
Correct.
vocally.
All
doing
right,
the
we
thing.
will do a roll call vote for
Is
the.
there not discussion now that it's actually a motion?
Sure, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was
No, yes.
asking the question, you were kind of rushing ahead.
We will stop and we will have discussion. I'm asking you to start that discussion off.
Okay. I was a no vote last time because of the road. This number of houses in that small neighborhood is going to affect the traffic flow over there. If a developer wants to develop this parcel, I would say they need to bring a road off of the main road, not through that little neighborhood.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion before we go for a roll call vote? I am seeing none. All right,
All right, so this is a vote to reconsider the June 23rd vote.
correct.
It's not a vote to approve the purchase.
Correct.
Thank you. Councilmember Zeter.
This is not to approve it?
Correct. This is a motion to reconsider the vote. Item number 1 on the PowerPoint slide.
Yes.
Councilmember Westover.
Yes.
Councilmember Walker.
Yes.
Councilmember Canales.
Yes.
Councilmember Hooker.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hands.
Yes.
Mayor Perigo.
Yes.
Okay, so now the motion can be reconsidered.
All right, I am asking council for a motion to approve the purchase and development agreement and have the mayor and clerk sign the agreement. And we must have 5 affirmative votes, and I will ask for a roll call vote of this. And can I get that motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the purchase and development agreement and have the mayor and clerk sign the agreement.
Thank you. Can I get a support?
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Joel, will you do the roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Zeter.
I'm a no.
Councilmember Westover.
Yes.
Councilmember Walker.
No.
Councilmember Canales.
Yes.
Councilmember Hooker.
Yes.
Councilmember Hands.
Yes.
Councilmember Perigo.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, we will move down to agenda item number 8. 8A is a public hearing and second reading on Ordinance 529 and adoption of Resolution 25.23 to adopt the City of Allegan zoning ordinance and zoning map.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening, you're going to be having a second reading and a public hearing on adopting our complete rewrite of our zoning ordinance and zoning map. The Planning Commission has spent the past year doing a complete overhaul to the zoning ordinance and zoning map. The Planning Commission held public hearings on April 21st and June 16th. And City Council, you had a first reading at your June 23rd meeting. The new zoning ordinance and zoning map creates several avenues to build more houses in the City of Allegan, including accessory dwelling units as a right in all residential zone districts. In your packet, you received the entire report, or the entire ordinance. It's also on the city website for public consumption. On the screens is the copy of the zoning map that will be addressed. I will just remind everybody that at the planning commission level, when they were adopting the zoning map, they made two small changes to their, there I am. They made two small changes. One was this area along Airway. They had both sides of Airway being mixed industrial commercial. They felt that we should preserve the residential feel right here, so they made that change. And then down here along Swan, they had both sides of M89, I believe it's called Lincoln in this area, transfers from Marshall to Lincoln in this area. And they felt that any property fronting Swan, except for Rick and Stan's car wash, should be residential. So those were the two small changes they made during their process between April and June before they sent it to you for your approval. This does require a public hearing, but if there's questions from city council, I can take those right now.
All right, I do not see any questions from council for staff. I will go ahead and open the public hearing at 6:27. If you have any comments on agenda item number 8A, which is the public hearing for Ordinance 529, City of Allegan zoning ordinance and zoning map and adoption of Resolution 25.23, please approach the podium and state your name and address. All right, I am not seeing a rush to the podium, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:28.
All right, we just need a motion to adopt
Up to
resolution.
Resolution 25.23.
I will make that motion.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Joel, this does not require a roll call?
It does not.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. No, say, all right, it looks like it passed with 7 yeas. 8B is a public hearing and request to adopt Resolution 25.22, approving the liquor license application for Another Mother LLC.
Thank you, Mayor. As part of your code of ordinances, the city council has to review and approve liquor licenses before the applicants submit them to the state of Michigan for their approval. In the audience tonight is Alex and Silene Wilkening, the owners of 211 Locust Street, the former Bubba's and the new home of Another Mother. And Alex and Silene, do you mind coming to the podium and just giving a 5-second overview of your proposal? And welcome back to Allegan.
Oh, thank you. So Alex Wilkening, 211 Locust, it's our home as well as our business. We live in the apartment above it. The 1,000-foot overview is we're taking the old Bubba's Bar and we're trying to revitalize, not necessarily the bar feel, that's not really what we do, but revitalize the property and turn it into something unique and interesting for the community. Our goal is to focus on small plates and cocktails. So my friend Ryan Wall, who's a chef in Grand Rapids, has been a chef for 12 years now. He's coming in on the business side, and him and I both kind of lean a little Asian with the way we like to cook. So we're thinking along the lines of an Asian fusion style menu, small seating, from a construction standpoint, open kitchen, about 30 seats, and we're turning the bathrooms into ADA compliant bathrooms, which I know has been quite an issue at Bubba's in the past. So if there are any questions, that's the 1,000-foot overview. I'm more than happy to talk specifics if you have questions.
That was a nice way to put the bathroom situation.
Oh,
It was
it's
interesting.
interesting. It was a nightmare. It still is, but
Yeah.
work in progress,
Yeah.
so.
Is there any questions that council has of this? All right, I am seeing none. Thank you.
Thank you.
This does require a public hearing.
Okay, I will open the public hearing at 6:31. If you have any comments about approval of the liquor license application for Another Mother LLC, which will be Resolution 25.22, please approach the podium and state your name and address. I do not see anybody rushing. All right, I do not see any public comment on this agenda item, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Okay, from council, can I get a motion, please, for approval or to adopt Resolution 25.22?
I'll make the motion to adopt that.
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. This does not require a roll call vote. Joel? Okay. Any discussion amongst council?
Good to see movement on the building, so happy to see this before us.
Yeah. All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. No? All right, looks, passes with a unanimous of 7. Moving down to agenda item number 9 is public comment. If you have, this is our first public comment of the evening, which is just general public comment. Please approach the podium and state your address, and we like to limit this to 3 minutes just for the sake of time. So at this time, anyone with public comment? All right, I am seeing none, so I'm going to move on to agenda item number 10A, which is a presentation from Bob Genetski, who is the Allegan County Clerk and Register of Deeds.
Thank you very much. Mayor Perigo, honorable members of council, Bob Genetski with a brief update, but a little longer than usually the brief one, from your county clerk and register of deeds. I appreciate the opportunity. I want to first let you know that while you've dodged an August election here, the western half of the county is preparing, or the western third of the county is busy preparing for a couple of school issues over there. We're still crunching numbers across the street at 113 Chestnut Street. We're looking at November in particular, when we saw countywide 72,433 voters turn out. Last November, that equates to 71.35% of registered voters for the presidential. Something that struck us throughout the clerk world and should strike you as well as we plan for future budgets and such. Roughly 50% of the votes cast in Allegan County last November were either absentee or early in person. This kind of shocked us for a county that typically turns out on election day. So as far as for the big elections, voters have taken to early in-person voting, and it's definitely here to stay. Countywide, we saw 25,223 voters participate in early in-person. And just last week, the Secretary of State put out some statistics stating that Allegan County had the second highest percentage in the state of early in-person voting participants. That really surprised us, but your local clerks worked very hard to make sure that that service was provided very close to where voters are used to casting their ballots. In the city of Allegan, you had 2,404 voters participate. That equates to 57.22% of your registered voters. That puts you in the bottom third, which kind of surprises me, knowing the civic mindedness of your citizens. So I do have some theories on that, none of which I want to pontificate regarding on the record. But if anybody would like to talk offline at some point about that, I'm glad to share my thoughts on that. Shifting gears slightly, across the street at the 48th Circuit Court, the Circuit Court records are now online. It used to be if someone had done damage to city property, manager Dye would have to stop by between the hours of 8 and 5 or call over to us to find out where that case was making progress. Now he can just sign on to his laptop and figure out where that's going through the 48th Circuit Court. Or if you're like me and you're up at Vitale's on a Sunday night for karaoke and you run into the former high school girlfriend and you're wondering if her divorce is finalized, you can pull out your iPhone right there and track that and see what her status regarding that is. Want to make sure all the members of council were aware we do have property fraud alert through the Register of Deeds office. Please encourage your constituents to sign up. We did just have in the county a situation whereby a parcel out in Ganges Township, there was an attempt for somebody to steal that by creating a fake deed and transfer that to themselves and try and enrich themselves. It didn't make it all the way, but had that person been signed up for property fraud alert, the owner would have been either received a phone call, a text message, or an email, whatever they choose when they go online to sign up for that service or when they call the friendly deputy registers. And the price is right even for manager die. It's free, so I want to encourage you and all your constituents to consider that. Next, in front of you, each of you has a copy of the annual report. That just came out recently. You probably saw that in the county news. I'm not going to read the entire thing to you because I know that Councilman Zeter likes to go through that with a cup of tea and make sure he's got everything. So there's just a few facts I want to pull out to you. If you'd like to turn first to page 4, we begin the elections section. And at the bottom of page 6, notice the blue box on the right-hand side. Note that while voters really took to early in-person voting for the presidential in November, they were not as interested in the early in-person voting in the presidential primary in February. Only 1.89% of our entire electorate showed up for that. So if we had any flexibility with the legislature, we could probably save some money there in the number of days that we had to offer early in-person for the not really big elections. Next, if you would turn to the bottom of page 11, there's a paragraph that indicates that at the filing deadline for township clerks last year, 8 of our 24 township clerks chose not to run again. That means 1/3 of all of our township clerks retired. We also saw some changes among our cities. 2 city clerks changed as well. That means that entering 2025, 1/4 of all of our clerks countywide are brand new. This is not the same job that clerks had when I ran in 2016. It has changed drastically when you look at the 27 days of early in-person voting that we had to offer last year. In some jurisdictions, a job that used to be part-time is looking very much like a full-time job, and that's a concern. When they retired last year, they brought with them over 100 years of institutional knowledge of running elections. I want to make sure we're all aware of that. If you turn the page next to page 12, you see where our turnout of 71.35% put us from 1996 through the present, ranked us 3rd. Page 13, you get a little chart in the middle of that page showing that we had 101,517 registered voters in November, 72,435 turned out, and then the top vote getters in the county. If you turn next to the bottom of page 14, we begin the vital records section of our report. And we had 474 more transactions than we did in 2023. And it shouldn't surprise anyone when you look on page 15, we had 361, an increase of 361 concealed pistol license applications. So that's what drove the increase in transactions. If you look at the page 16 at the bottom, we've got our map, the important question of where do babies come from. Keep in mind that in Allegan County, we no longer have any birthing hospitals anymore. So any of the births recorded across the street are home births with a midwife. So you see the little teddy bear chart, and we know that the 2 teddy bears there, right near the City of Allegan, you had 2 home births recorded in 2024, and there were 34 overall countywide. Turning the page next to page 19, if you look at the chart in the very middle, our recordings of papers of honorable discharge for your veterans was down significantly. We find that in the big election years, when the county clerk is bogged down at the office with elections and not out talking to veterans groups and your constituents, a lot fewer people come in with their DD 214s or their papers of honorable discharge. So I know that you have a lot of people in the city who have served our country, and when you come into contact with them, if you could ask them or encourage them if they have recorded their papers of honorable discharge with the county clerk. Their separation papers, we need their originals. If they do that, if they bring that into our office, we give the original back, we make a copy, and for as long as the veteran or his or her heirs need, we will issue certified copies so they can obtain veterans benefits, GI Bill benefits, VA benefits, and things like that. If you turn the page, next page 21, the beginning of the Circuit Court Records Division section. Top of page 22, we see that there were 2,560 new cases in 2024 enrolled at the Circuit Court Records. And then if you look at the bottom of the page, the chart there shows a little bit of good news. Personal protection orders were down, both juvenile, adult, and domestic were all down. That's the first time since 2020 that happened. So by and large, people were either being nicer to each other in 2024 or they weren't going across the street to get a personal protection order regarding that. If you turn the page 25, and we're getting near the end of the annual report, I appreciate your patience there. Recordings at the Register of Deeds office were up just slightly, but that reverses a trend of being down for several years in a row. If you look on page 27, the two most frequently recorded documents are reflected there on that chart with the blue lines in the middle. Those are mortgage documents and land transfers, otherwise known as deeds. If you look at in 2024, both of those were up just slightly. We saw 83 more deeds recorded or land transfers in 2024 versus 2023, and we had 194 more mortgage documents than in 2023. So we seem to have bottomed out countywide as far as land transfers, and hopefully that will pick up. If you turn to page 28, the amount of money that the county took in from those land transfers was an increase of just under $600,000 as reflected by the chart at the top there for state real estate transfer tax, and then the $100,000 amount or just under that in county transfer tax went to the county. In addition, I've given each of you an editorial relative to ranked choice voting. I know that as a state, we tend to like the shiny new thing when it comes to elections. I have a lot of concerns as your chief election official over ranked choice voting and what it's going to cost local jurisdictions as far as new equipment, new tabulators, the amount of training, and just the cost of election inspectors should there be frequent runoffs. What we might currently consider a recount becomes a runoff under ranked choice voting, and you would have to call back in your election inspectors to basically retabulate votes. And if you still don't reach a candidate who has 50%, you would have to have another retabulation or another run of those votes. So I am concerned what that might cause our local jurisdictions relative to that. And finally, your constituents are very smart people. I know this. They know their state constitution because they are regularly coming across the street looking for the offices of treasurer, drain commissioner, and register of deeds. No doubt you're aware that the county, in violation of the law and the state constitution, has moved those offices out into the township. And the county hasn't made things any easier on your constituents by keeping a sign outside the building, directing them inside the building to offices that no longer exist there. So if you run into any of your constituents who might be looking for those offices, spare them a trip, and please remind those offices have been moved out to 122nd Avenue. With that, I'll take any questions you have regarding property fraud alert, the annual report, anything like that.
Any questions from council?
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
It's good to
thank
see
you.
everybody. Have a
Yep.
good night.
All right, we will move down to 11A.1, which is review of the July 2025 Downtown Development Authority minutes. And that would be me. Trying to think what we mainly talked about, the upcoming sidewalk sales and the community involvement that Nicole Heslop, who is the chair of the DDA, she's done a really nice job of getting community involvement and making that a family-friendly event. I did notice there is a flyer out here in the lobby about the different events that'll be going on, and council members have volunteered their time to be down there as well. But besides that, Joel, I don't remember anything else of significance.
The pedal
Oh,
pop.
the pedal. Oh, geez, I forgot about that one. We have, the city staff has received a inquiry from a gentleman who is interested in bringing one of those pedal pubs. You've probably seen them in bigger cities where people can rent them, and they're like the bikes with the 6 seats, and ride around a certain area. There is some more inquiries of, what area this gentleman is looking at. Or will people be purchasing beverages from downtown local, like Tantric or Schaendorf? In that case, they would have to stay in the, social district. So there were some follow-up questions that staff was asked to get from this person who was interested in that. But besides that, any other questions that anybody had? No? All right. Okay, move down to 11A.2 is review of the July 2025 Public Spaces Commission meeting minutes. And Councilmember Canales, would you give us an update?
Yes. So we discussed that the history tour at the cemetery went well. August 9th, there's going to be a learning and restoration event all day at the cemetery. The cemetery is planning on taking part in a Wreaths Across America event. If they can raise enough money to do so, it's going to be kind of expensive. Green burial, they're doing the surveys right now, so that is moving forward. And there's going to be a Liberty tree planted for the 250th anniversary. And flower boxes are back on the bridge. We're just waiting for the water to get hooked up.
I think I noticed today there was some water going on, so hopefully that's a good thing.
Could happen between then and now.
Yes.
Awesome. And that's about it.
All right. Were the cemetery things, were those city, or was that the Friends of Oakwood Cemetery that are doing the wreaths and the restoration seminar?
That is the Friends of.
Okay, all right, I just was curious.
With the REITs, the city's being asked to donate a lot of time and energy.
Okay,
But the restoration is all Friends.
okay, all
And the
right.
Friends is organizing the REITs, but the city will be doing a heavy lift as part of that.
Okay, I was just curious. All right, thank you. Any other questions for Carl? All right, 11A2, we did that. All right, moving down to 11C1 is a request to approve PO 26-0822 to Wade Trim in the amount of $410,000 to provide engineering services for the design, bidding, and construction management for a solids thickener.
I will handle this. So as council's well aware, we have a biosolid issue over at the wastewater plant where we have to consistently, it seems like, be land applying our solids. Our system over there is at a point where we are land applying a lot of watery solids. So we need to install a sludge thickener to dewater the solids coming in, and that will reduce the amount of solids that we're putting out on the fields, which will reduce costs for us to do this. Doug Swears put the report together. It's in your packet. The image that's on the screen is example of what's going to be installed at the wastewater plant, but we are only approving the engineering, the bidding, and the construction management purpose or services for this project. Any questions for staff?
Unless I missed it somewhere in here, what is if the whole project went through, well, if we're gonna spend $410,000, I don't think we're gonna stop the $2 million project. But what would be the return on investment for the complete project? Do we have an idea of what that would be?
Yeah, that was something that Doug shared at an earlier meeting with city council when he was talking about this. We're looking at saving, I believe it's anywhere from 15 to 25%.
Okay, saving, okay, so can we understand that then in when the payback would be?
Off the top of my head, no, well, we couldn't. This would have been a great question for us to get. Doug is going on medical leave tomorrow, so I gave him the night off tonight, so he could prep for the 2.5-week medical leave.
And if I remember, when this issue was first brought up in, I think, April, wasn't there a $70,000 option to, it's something totally different, but I thought it was still addressing the liquid.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to answer that for you, Will, sorry.
No, it's all right, it's all right. I think that without seeing some good return numbers and understanding that, I would like to address it at the next meeting, personally.
It says in here, from Doug, that it's not a monetary issue. The city treatment facility generates close to 10 million gallons of biosolids. It sounds like it's already been budgeted for repairs and replacement of equipment. I mean, it has a bunch of other percentages in here, but I don't see a specific dollar amount.
So it's not a monetary issue for the city to do land apply. That is in the budget. What this will do is this will reduce the amount of money we're spending on land apply. Also, this will set up the cities, if Michigan ever follows Maine, where they come out and they say, you can't do land apply anymore. You have to put it into a landfill. This sets us up in a position where we will be able to not put as much water, into the ground.
And do you have other questions, Will? I don't want to.
No, that's fine. I would just like to, we have a lot of information here. I think it would be good to wait one more meeting.
And
And
again,
have
I
a
would just
further
encourage
discussion.
council, you receive these reports on Thursdays. If you have deep questions like this, if the report doesn't do justice to answer stuff, please reach out to staff, because then we can get you the exact information you need.
And this goes back to my earlier issues with these type of requests, that understanding theoretically we have enough time to go over everything. I don't think it's wise that we act on a proposal at the first reading. We've addressed some of this before, I understand, but for a purchase like this, I guess it just brings more questions to mind, and to me, it seems a little short. But that could be just me. I don't know.
So is this total project budgeted?
The project is part of our 6-year capital improvement plan for sludge thickening. We shared this plan with you as part of the improvements that we need to make to all of our infrastructure, including the pipes in the ground and the pipes at the plant. So this is part of the pipes at the plant. So as part of approving the financing plan that we discussed, that you guys did vote on at 2 meetings ago, I believe it was, this was part of that project. That $2 million that's in there.
So every truckload, there'd be essentially a savings with
Correct.
replacing that water with
Yep.
more stuff.
Correct.
All right.
Well, if you want to know the cost savings, it's, what was it, 25% reduction in the biosolids.
That's what I'm seeing right
Our
here.
audited budget from '23 had biosolid disposal at 359,000. We're, 2025 projected budget is 385. And we just did a budget adjustment on 5/12 of 150,000 because of the increase, because we're not dewatering very much. Now, this budgeted, this is all part of our budget, and also this part of the project, and I think it's always about 2 million is the estimated project cost.
Yeah, 2 million is the estimated project cost. We still have to go out for bonding for this stuff, which is part of that, information that will be provided to you, later on this summer.
The 2026 budget, we have $550,000 budgeted for biosolids disposal.
We increased it up to 550.
So if we're going off of current budget year and you reduce that by 15%, that's a $57,000 cost savings. If it's just a straight percentage, if
Yeah.
you're saying 15% reduction. So then you're talking 2 million.
So we're talking 42 years? 42 years on a $2.4 million project?
Yeah, I won't take those numbers I'm giving you right now. What you have is a recommendation from your water utilities director. And if you guys need more information, I'm going to hear from Councilmember Walker. I'm not hearing from any other council members right now.
I think too, it's not just a cost savings, it's a capital improvement of future state. As Joel has mentioned tonight and in the past, we've heard about, other states where they've stopped allowing,
That's
so,
true.
Yeah, so we've got to think about that, of setting ourselves up for the future. Is there other questions from council to staff, or comments, discussion?
No, I think it would probably be, if you're looking return on investment, like you were saying, it would probably be anywhere from 15 to 35 years, depending on if it's the 15% or it's the 25%. And if our cost also is going up because our BOW adjuster is just not reducing it as much as it used to, that's part of the reason that they were looking to do this and why we had budgeted for it, and also field applied.
Could this increase our capacity?
Well, it should increase the capacity of Big Blue.
Yeah, this will increase the capacity of storage,
generation,
very
so it
much
might
so.
offset it even a little differently.
Other than I think we need a new second Big Blue personally, but that's just my thoughts. Because when it gets full, I think
Say
that's part of the
a whole
smell.
nother.
I think that's part of the smell issue is when it starts getting towards the top. So I wouldn't mind having a second one as also a backup, just in case that one ever got a leak.
All right, I'm going to ask for a motion, and then I will bring it back around, and we can discuss more, but the agenda item is, what I'm asking for is a motion to approve PO 26-0822 to Wade Trim in the amount of $410,000. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve PO 260822.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion amongst council or questions? All right, I am seeing none. Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. All right, motion passes 5-2. Moving down to 11C.2 is a request to approve a 5-year agreement with Gallagher Uniform to provide uniforms and other cleaning supplies to the City of Allegan.
Thank you, Mayor. So in front of you is a request that we approve a 5-year agreement with Gallagher. They've been our provider for our uniforms for our DPW and water utility staff for the past few years. That contract is coming to an end, and they'd like to extend it for another 5 years. This is a service contract.
Is there any questions for staff after reading the contract agreement that was in your packet? No? Okay. Can I get oh, do you have one, Peter? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the 5-year agreement with Gallagher Uniform?
I will make that motion.
Support?
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any questions? Seeing none. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right, motion passes. Moving down to 11D.1 is a request to take no action on PO 26-0819 to Consumers Energy for underground electric services in the Hubbard Parking Lot in the amount of $3,272.95. Joel, do you have?
Yeah, so we are still waiting for a report or an estimate from the electrician to do the additional work. At the last meeting, council, you postponed it to this meeting. Instead of continuing to postpone it to the next meeting, I'm just requesting you guys don't say a thing for the next 3 seconds. And we'll write down motion died for lack of motion, or issue died lack of motion. Do you have any questions for staff, besides not saying anything for the next 3 seconds?
All right, Joel, I think that was more than 3 seconds, so we should be good.
Yep.
All right, 11D2 is a request to approve PO 26-0823 to Masonry Arts Company in the amount of $21,410 for the full repair of the main brick columns at the original entrance to the Oakwood Cemetery. Do you have anything
right.
from staff that you'd like
Yeah.
to cover?
Very quickly, I am very excited and relieved that we are finally getting to the point where we're going to be repairing these brick columns. This has been on the to-do list for the past 3 years, I think, longer than that.
Yes.
We've struggled to get estimates from masons to come in and do this work. Thankfully, Jeff Morey, who's our Assistant Director of DPW, took it upon himself this year to just chase down contractors left and right. Masonry Arts is the contractor that did the work at Mayhem Park, put in the limestone caps on the donor wall, as well as built the brick wall for the new amphitheater down there. The bids range from $21,410 to $76,000. So we are recommending that we go with the $21,410. Any questions for staff?
No, I was just going to ask, have you seen their work, but I guess we have, so.
Yes, we have, recently.
All right, can I get a motion for approving PO 26-0823?
I make a motion to approve that PO to Masonry Arts.
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any questions, comments from council? All right, seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right, motion passes. 11E.1 is a request to approve accounts payable and payroll.
It's requested that the city council approve accounts payable in the amount of $1,370,725.58 and payroll in the amount of $136,084.75 for a total disbursement of $1,506,810.33. Questions? Motion to approve?
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Is there any questions on this agenda item? No? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. No? All right, motion passes. You got that, Joel? Everybody was an aye.
Thank you.
11E.2 is a request from Wings of Hope Hospice to display butterflies on the railing along the Riverfront Park boardwalk.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an annual fundraiser that Wings of Hope does. They place butterflies. They're typically 6 inches by 6 inches. They're made of sturdy cardstock, and they place them along the riverfront. One year they did it near the riverfront stage. The other year they did it down by Mayhem Park. They display them between September 12th and September 15th. Families purchase a butterfly and they write down the name of a loved one. You have approved this, I think, for the past 4 or 5 years.
Is there any questions of staff from council? No? All right, can I get a motion?
I will make that motion.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. I don't think we need any discussion, but is there any discussion on this item? All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Same side. Nope. All right, motion passes. 11E.3 is review and discussion regarding city-owned parcels in the city of Allegan. And looks like Joe,
All
you
right,
have a-
yeah, I'm going to invite Ryan and Mohammed up to the podium to let them go over the next three reports for you.
Hello, everybody. For the city-owned one, in your packet, I know it says 193. When I worked with Lindsay, she told me like those riverfronts are like all those parcels I split into too many of them. So after I worked with her, the total was 104. Even besides that, there was about majority of them were like government uses as well. So we have, like I said, 104 total parcels that we put together, but only 8 of them that are not government use as well. So those 8 parcels, one is located on Lowell Street. You can see it up, but it says only, when I did the work, it says like water service line running down, so it's contaminated as well. The second one down is North Street, and then between North Street and North Main Street. When we talked about it, our DPW people are taking care of that, and I think when we're talking about cost of service, trying to save money, I think we had a conversation that we should sell it to that individual, not sell it, but give it to them, so we don't have to maintain it as much, because right now we're using our resources from our DPW people to take care of it. The next one is Week Street. That as well, we own majority of that, and I know they have a driving right there, so we're also talking about maybe selling our parts to them as well, to kind of generate some money. And also another one is Ida Street, that we can also sell it to the people that own that building next to it as well. Crescent Street is the next one. This one is kind of complicated. It's literally in someone's yard, and it's like in a little corner. So we can also give that to that individual that lives there as well. And then the next one is Thomas Street as well. It's owned, that whole back row is owned by Preston Lord. So we were also thinking about just handing that partials to him as well. And then the last one, this one is Bond Street, but Ryan and I went out there. It's just down the steep. I know it looks like you can develop something there, but it's just undevelopable. We went out there and checked that out, and it's just down this steep, so that's undevelopable right there. And then Joe also talked to me about this. It's located on M22. The second the airport kind of like released that, we can sell that. We don't have the parcel right now, but the second they release that, we can sell that and kind of generate some money as well. Yeah. Any questions?
So we're kind of looking for direction from city council. As you just experienced over the past, 3 months, you've had some discussion about city-owned property and how do we want to sell it. There is a policy that says this is how you should do it. There's also, part of that policy is city council will take unsolicited offers all the time and have conversations. So I'm gonna go backwards, what Mohammed just went over. So this is a 2-acre parcel that used to be part of the airport when there was a north-south grass runway. The Airport Advisory Board and subsequently the City Council decertified that north-south grass runway. We worked with MDOT and the FAA to remove that from our airport layout plan. Once those two agencies approved the new airport layout plan without that grass runway, the next step was to decertify that land from airport use. We've submitted all that paperwork. FAA is doing their review and approval. Once they review and approve it, we will be able to sell this land. This is a parcel that I would recommend the city council that we either develop a vision for it, and we go out and we seek proposals on what we would like to have built there, or we just contract with a realtor and we put a for sale sign out there and, you know, a developer purchases it based off, you know, what the zoning allows to go there. This one, as Mohammed mentioned, is not developable. The slope is too great, the dimensions are not big, it's forested land that the city's just stuck with. Just to the top of that line, so it'd be like northeast on this map, is a extended right-of-way of Sixth Street. There's really not much we can do there. This is something where we should just approach that property owner, and this is where I would recommend the city council, we say, hey, for $1, will you guys just take this off our hands, so we don't have to worry about this anymore. Same for this one. You know, for $1, will you just take this off our hands? I don't think we want to get a realtor and try to sell, you know, land in someone's backyard. That doesn't make sense to me. This one used to be home to a house. The staff members that were here back in the mid-2000s call this the rat house. This is one where during the demolition, a bunch of rodents came running out, and all the contractors were like, what in the heck did we hit here? So the people that own the property just to the west or the left on the screen, that's Dan and Aaron Dewey. They've approached me a couple times and said, hey, would the city be interested in selling this? And what I tell everyone when they ask about property, I'm like, submit a letter to city council. They never submitted a letter to city council. So I don't know if this is one that we'd like to hire a realtor and put on the market and see if someone's interested in buying it. For those of you that may not be familiar with this section of town, Ida and North Main, on the north side of Ida going west, there's a collection of what I'm going to classify as old industrial/commercial storage buildings. They all look like 1930s garages, is the way I would describe it. This is one where there's some discussion whether or not that driveway is on city property or if the parcel line's just shifted off. Consumers does have a power line that you can see in that top right-hand corner, shooting off to the top of the screen that goes over this parcel. We might have some easement issues with consumers or consumers as an easement over a parcel. Nonetheless, I don't know why the city has to own this, and this is one of the few parcels that the city, we have to pay taxes on this one because it does not serve a government purpose. And if it doesn't serve a government purpose, we have to pay taxes. This is one of the handful of areas in the city where we own land where the roads intersect at unique angles. This is one where I'd like to approach a property owner to the west and say, for $1, you get to expand your side yard. And then Low Street is the one that we had discussions with when Tantric Brewing was looking to expand their storage operations for their facility there. They withdrew their bid at that time. I did have someone during a community meeting make what I'm going to classify as a secondhand comment or offhanded comment because it wasn't about the subject we were talking about, how her family owns all the storage units up in the industrial park and they should have the right to buy this land. I don't know why we just won't go ahead and hire a realtor and put a for sale sign here and highest and best offers come in. The water sewer line that goes here, it still says that in the assessing database. We are about 99% sure that it is in regards to that property that says Green Street to the left of that parcel on the screen. So, council, we kind of just need direction from you on how you think we should move forward with those city-owned parcels. Almost all the parcels we own, as Mohammed mentioned, are for government use. A little bit more clarification. When Lindsay, who's our city assessor, ran the first report, she ran the report of city-owned parcels that I had her run several years ago. At that time, I had an intern who worked for me, and I had her go through and take all the city-owned parking lots that were subdivided into a bunch of parcels and combine them all into one parcel, so the parking lots are their own parcel. The Riverfront Park down there where the splash pad is and the stage is, that was like 27 individual city-owned parcels that made up that whole area. That was one of the big projects. And you wrap that around to the other side of, behind the Riverfront properties off Brady. Those are all individual parcels too. So that's where that's where we went from 193 down to 104 really quick. We did that in most all the parking lots downtown. The only place we can't do it is the airport because the FAA denied our request to combine all the parcels into one parcel there because they need to keep track of when parcels became part of an airport.
These small little, like triangular piece, the small little ones that are right in the middle, what tax implications would that have on the adjacent owners? Or if someone bought it for $1, would their taxes increase, or how would
Yeah,
that work?
so as for those of you that are property owners in the city of Allegan, you know that your taxes are based off your land value and the quality of the structure that's on your property, if it's improved. So if they increase their land size, then it will go up. We're just looking for direction, because I'd like to avoid conversations with council members like I've had over the past 3 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like this idea. Could we go through them one at a time?
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you.
Yeah, that one, as far as I'm concerned, we should sell it. I don't know if you do a realtor or auction, whatever's best, but I think, yeah. Next. That's not developable?
I don't believe it is. We can look at this a little bit further.
Yeah, if there's not enough room to put a house there, then offer
Yeah.
to the neighbor, I would think.
The new zoning ordinance intrigues me. I wonder if the new zoning ordinance, if,
Got against the new zoning, because I don't know if our structure
Right.
sizes have
yeah,
reduced.
our structure size goes way down.
And the
Right.
frontage and setbacks, because, well, that was part of the zoning, that they don't have nice tables in there that I would have preferred to see.
Yeah, no, planning commission voted not to do it this year, Peter.
So I walk this way all the time. I mean, it's relatively little, it's really narrow. I mean, the best thing you could do is make it like a little small park. I mean, like literally, there's not, I don't think. No more parks. Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying, like that would be, I can't see a house, maybe a tiny home, I don't know, like.
I think if somebody wants to put a house there, they can buy the land. And if nobody thinks they should put a house there, the neighbors should be able to pick it up cheap then,
Okay, yeah.
I think.
Check if the zoning allows it, or new
Yeah,
zoning.
exactly.
Yep.
Next,
So this one we can put on the market as well. If the neighbor wants to buy it cheap, they can do it, or
I
if
believe so.
someone else wants to buy it, they can, okay.
Yeah. And we should check zoning. If zoning says no house, then just
We
offer
will.
to the neighbor. And you said this one, we're not sure if this is accurate?
Yeah, so we're not sure on the property line through the county's GIS if that property line's right or not. There's a good chance it is because there are many times this city is approved or the city is not approved. Many times in the history of this city, that someone's built a garage in a right-of-way. Hickory off River going north is a prime example of where that has happened, north of Babylon.
Do we know the parcel size?
We can figure that out.
It looks big enough for a house.
Well, it
We can
does-
look into that.
So if it's right, if this is what it actually is, it should probably be offered to the,
Well, they
people that
kind of
have a
already taken
building
possession of it
on
through
it.
adverse
Well-
possession.
Yeah, they can make that argument.
but if it's off, if it's actually over far enough, then, and it could hold a house, then we should offer that up
Okay.
for sale. I would think.
Do you know that like forested area, like, is this flat, like they could,
Yeah, it's flat.
okay.
Again, I'd say a house used to be there, a house could be there, offered up for sale. That's my opinion. I'm doing a lot of the talking here. Anybody else feel
I was
free to
just gonna
jump in?
say, if it's feasible that a house can be built on it, put a for sale sign on it, then everybody can see it's for sale. It's not
Everybody gets a chance to buy it.
Yep.
And I want to,
These little, yeah, that one
No.
just,
I want to
yeah.
put a for sale sign on it.
yeah, give it to that.
Then I'm saying if it's feasible to build something.
Yeah, sell that for $1, sell that for
Not
$1,
feasible.
Now, I
sell that
wouldn't,
for $1.
I wouldn't necessarily go about saying, give me $1. I would just say, are you interested? What will you give me?
True.
I would just.
So here's a suggestion. When we sold City Hall, we went out for bid for Realtor services. We had 2 local realtors submit proposals on why they wanted to do this, and the city council at that time chose one. Say, we're gonna work with this realtor to market the old City Hall and sell it. I would recommend that we do something similar with this. and we just, to sell city-owned land, and these are the parcels that we're gonna sell. The small ones next to the neighborhoods, like the one that's on the screen right now, that is something that I think staff and our city attorney can handle with a quick claim deed. The other ones, I think we wanna, have someone.
But the marketable, I think, is what I feel, and I'm like speaking for Will too, because he nodded at me, and I think Carl too, and other members, council members, that it's being marketed. The community knows it's for sale. If you want to buy it, buy it.
Okay.
It's not, we're not trying to do backdoor deals of somebody buying something,
Yep.
and I think is what we're trying to avoid here.
So I'll go ahead.
Exception
But
of-
we will bring at your next meeting a proposal we'll make it a quick turnaround for the proposals. It doesn't take much for a realtor to give us their, proposal on what they charge us to do this. Does that sound good to you
Yeah.
with this idea? And we'll list that, in part of that report, we'll list the ones that we're gonna market on the private market and ones we're gonna go and sell, and you guys can massage them as you see fit at that one.
Yes, and then we can be done about city-owned property. That's my goal.
And it's all above board, and I hope people buy it that make good use out of it.
Correct. Well. All right, any other questions or comments on that? All right. 11E4 is a review and discussion regarding dangerous structures in the city of Allegan. That sounds fun.
Oh, so fun. I'll take this one. Throughout our code enforcement drives and whatnot over the last year and a half, there are a handful of houses that either recently or ones that we've noticed either are, and after looking at the other data, are either unoccupied or recently had a fire. So they're not suitable for living in. We, as the city staff, so us, the police chief and the fire chief, had a meeting about this. And there are 8 for sure ones that we believe are dangerous structures. There are a few other ones, but these ones are the immediate, these ones, they're an eyesore. They're boarded up, or there was a fire, so they've got some of that damage. Or in, the last 5 years have been deemed unsafe for other reasons, and nothing's moved forward from homeowner or the property owners to rectify that issue. Based on some numbers I found from past demolishing numbers for a couple other buildings in the city, we're thinking that it would probably be around the $20,000 per structure to do that. It, again, depends on the size of the building, but I think 20 is a good middle road for that at this point. That one there you can see is 105 Elm. That one was one of the ones that in the past was already deemed unsafe for different reasons. When we brought this one up, there was definitely like a consensus from both our chiefs that it was bad. 201 Race is one that we've had issues with a lot. You can see in the picture there that the roof over that porch is collapsing. Inside is not much better. This one, we're not entirely sure, but it's boarded up, and it's been vacant for quite a while at this point. The next one, this one, there was a fire at this house. Nothing's happened with this one.
And
that
those
we've
are both
noticed.
right next to each other,
And
right?
Yep, those are right next to
Okay.
each other. That one had a couple of fires in it over the last year, and has been unoccupied for quite a while. This one is a very recent house fire. Nothing's happened yet with that. I'm not sure what their plan is moving forward, or if just going in and taking it down is worth it. This one, unoccupied, windows are broken on the upstairs. There's other issues within it and around the property. 724 River, another one that there's limbs through the roof, broken windows, garage, no door, it's just open, in really bad shape. I think in some of our notes, it said that the water utilities deemed it unsafe and refused to go inside the building for anything.
So, council, in Ryan's report to you, he references the dangerous structure ordinance, which is an ordinance you have on your books that allows the mayor to appoint a hearing officer. He hears a review from a building official, which is PCI. Roughly, state law, I believe, dictates that if the repair cost is more than 50% of the SEV, then it is a dangerous structure. That then authorizes the city to either hire a contractor to make all the repairs or to demo the property. And then the cost of that can be added to the property owner's assets, not just that parcel. That's why a lot of cities utilize the dangerous structure ordinance. So if you have, a phrase I'm going to use right now, and I'm not trying to be accusatory, but if you have an absentee landlord who just doesn't care, and they have multiple properties, you can put that lien on all their properties, not just the one that has the issue. So this is a process that a lot of municipalities use. Our attorney had a previous council included in the council's ordinances, I think back in 2017. We never really got off the starting block with it as we were doing other things in the city. But as Ryan mentioned, they've spent the past year and a half increasing their code enforcement work. And, I have seen it with my eyes as I drive around the city, and I'm seeing, things are being addressed when I read the reports. We need to figure out from council how comfortable you are with us going down this path. We do use the word on the first screen. They've been initially determined. This was done by code enforcement staff, police chief, and the fire chief. We would have to have our building official go into this. One of these structures, the first one you see right there, 105 Elm Street, that was reported to us by the brother of a tenant who was moving out. We went in at that time with our housing official, lack of a better phrase, had it condemned. The owner of the property appealed that decision to our Construction Board of Appeals, which is the appropriate board to make those appeals to, and the board approved the housing official's determination. And the ruling was simple: make the improvements that are listed in here, and then you can get your occupancy permit back. And no improvements have been made. We're kind of at a place now where do we want to continue to allow these properties to degrade and deteriorate? Because these are in neighborhoods. People live next to these. Or do we want to or do we want to utilize our ordinance and try to make force the changes that have to be made?
And at this point, with all of these properties, I'm assuming you've reached out to the homeowners or the landowners and they've just not responded?
Yeah. So this
What
one,
about the fires, though?
so this one's in probate.
Okay.
This one, Wilmington Savings Fund Society. It's hard to reach out to a bank. This was a recent fire, but they are non-reachable. This is Hidden Oaks Properties. It's a landlord. They own a handful of properties in the city. They're out of Hamilton. We've had a couple conversations with them for the past year and a half, because before the fire happened there, which you can see that boarded up window, looking up the hill, that's where the fire was.
They have replaced that, though.
They have?
Yes,
Is
there
it
is a window there now.
It's a window there? He constantly said, I'm working on something, but we never saw great work. This was a recent fire. We just got word today from their insurance company about how they make the payment, because in the state of Michigan, if there is a fire that happens, the fire insurance is deposited with the municipality. We hold on to it, and if you don't fix it, we utilize a portion of that to remove the structure and bring it into compliance. We almost got to that with the fire that happened at 111 River Street 2 years ago, before the property owner, after I talked to him like 3 or 4 times, saying, it's gonna be cheaper for you to hire a demolition company and knock it down than for the city. And once you knock it down and your demo permit is cleared, you'll get this full check from us. And it saved them like $10,000. Because it is always cheaper for a homeowner to call a demolition company than a city to do it.
Well, and that's what I was gonna ask
Yeah.
about, because it seemed like it forever, and I
Forever.
assumed it was an insurance thing, so that's,
Yeah.
I didn't know how
And
long they were
this-
taking.
This one, the owner lives in Montana, and our mail is sent back undelivered. They don't receive it when we send certified mail, so. And this one is another property owner that's in the city, owns several properties throughout the city. So I just kind of need, again, we're just looking for direction from council on how you want us to approach dangerous structures.
Well, I was just gonna say, that brings up another point, like, obviously, the 20,000 approximately would go on them, but if we can't reach them, like, if it keeps coming back, then what happens?
Well, eventually, they don't pay their property taxes.
Okay,
Eventually, they don't do that, and then it goes to a county sale. The county makes us whole at the, and Tracy, feel free to correct me if I misspeak, the county makes us whole at the end of the tax year. And then if you don't pay your county taxes for 3 consecutive years, it goes on a county tax foreclosure sale. The county will sell it, but if the county isn't made whole, they come back to the city and said, hey, remember 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, when we gave you guys 20 grand? You have to give it back to us. Because the county will always be made whole, period, end of story. So we get made whole for the initial round, but seldom is the land in Allegan expensive enough where the county's made whole and the city's made whole through a tax sale and a lien on a property.
Do we have an idea, is the hearing officer gonna be a paid position, not paid?
Yeah, the hearing officer, in my past experience, has always been a paid position. They have to be someone that has some experience in housing construction code, sort of thing. There are ones throughout West Michigan that workplaces that do this. That really is up to the city council on how you would want to move forward with that. But you would have to approve a hearing officer.
Are there other questions for staff,
Comments?
comments? Yeah.
I don't think we have a lot of options here. I think we really need to move forward on this. It's gonna become a problem. These are just gonna keep getting worse unless somebody starts moving this forward.
Well, and I do know, like, the Race Street property, that has been something that has been a problem when I was on council the first time, which was how many years ago? So,
Yeah, I'm in favor of following the code, doing what we have to.
I mean, do our best to get the owners involved and get these taken care of that way, but we just gotta move forward on this.
Joel, I know we've heard from Councilperson Walker and Canales. How about others?
I think there should be some movement. See something happen.
So if we wanna find what the cost of a hearing officer is, kind of what the costs are all gonna come together on this, because that's
Yeah.
usually what I'm looking at is, okay, if we have these hearings, how much is it gonna cost? And then if we're gonna take it to demolition, how much is that gonna cost?
Yeah.
And just-
If we're looking at 724C in the zone, in the Code of Ordinances, that's in your report, so it's on page 270. The hearing officer shall be appointed by the mayor to serve at his or her pleasure. The hearing officer shall be a person who has expertise in housing matters, including but not limited to an engineer, architect, building contractor, building inspector, or member of a community housing organization. An employee of the city shall not be appointed as hearing officer. The city shall file a copy of the notice that the building or structure is dangerous building with the hearing officer. So there is a possibility we could get a licensed builder from the Allegan area to serve as the hearing officer, and we don't have to bring in someone outside this area.
Does PCI help, though, like, as the administrator?
Yeah, so there are building
Yeah.
officials, so they do the whole report and they make the presentation to the hearing officer.
Okay. Yep. So what more do you want to hear from council, Joel?
No, I think this is a good consensus.
And I see, Part D already takes care of notice, since you're having trouble reaching some of them with certified mail, that we
Yeah.
can nail it to the structure,
Yep.
if they don't.
And if you don't go by your property you own, that's on you.
Well, normally, I'd first, yeah, we send it certified. If
Yeah.
they don't take it, then the next step is put it on the structure. So,
All right, any other comments, questions? No? All right, moving on to 11E5 is a review and discussion on code enforcement initiatives in the city of Allegan.
Yeah, so every other Monday, Mohammed and I, at this moment, drive out, we do the entire city, all the roads, check on all the houses, see if there are any properties that happen to be in violation at that moment. Sometimes there are some things that, as we drive by, we'll see something and it seems unusual for that property, and sometimes we'll wait that extra, we'll be like, we'll keep an eye on this one, check on our next drive, and if that issue is still there, then we'll send the letter, because sometimes they're in the process of moving some stuff out, doing something, so we kind of give that little bit of leeway, but if it's something we consistently see, that's when we start sending them the letters. Those letters are sent out typically that same day, the afternoon. If it's a little bit later in the day and before or after our mail gets delivered and they can take it, then we just run it over, drop it off at the post office in the box. The letters are sent to the occupants of those properties, and it has the list of the violations. Sometimes it can be two different separate codes, could just be one. We don't name the person because sometimes the property owner is not the occupant. So that's why our letters say current occupant on there. Since April or February, so our first 4 months of this year, we've sent 118 letters and 95 came into compliance without any further steps. With that, 41 from the beginning of the year, which I think they started that in May. 41 long grass notices have been posted and 7 of them had to be abated. Which I think is good compared to, I think, some other years. I don't have the
Yeah,
data for long
right now,
grass very
today,
much.
the long grass, they've done 185 long grass notices so far. And of the 185, 17 had to be cut by or had to be mowed by our contractor. So we brought this to you because at the last meeting, there was questions about the code enforcement letter that goes out. There was questions about the address, et cetera. In the report, it included those attachments for you, as well as a list of all the properties that have received code enforcement issues, as well as a spreadsheet showing all of the mowings that have occurred. Any questions for staff? Any ideas or anything you want to get off your chest for us?
So every other Monday, you drive all the streets in Allegan?
Yep.
And you look for the long grass?
No. Long grass is handled by the police department because they have people who are driving around every day around the city. So they can, if they see it and it's over, was it 18?
8 inches.
8 inches, then they'll fill out the door hanger and they'll put it on the door for them to see. And they typically have 72 hours to get that done. And if it's not done within that time, then it gets abated and someone comes in and mows it. We are doing almost everything else when it comes to the code enforcement. So blight, animals, vehicles, a lot of inoperable vehicles. A big issue we still seem to have is front yard parking. There are a lot of people who, and it's a lot of people who have multiple vehicles and they have different shifts, so they feel the need that they can park in front of in their front yard, so they're out of the driveway for other people. But that's gonna be one of the biggest things that is gonna be a struggle to get people to understand that they can't do that. And if they want to, they have to improve their driveway in order to do that. Whether it's, I think, Joel, you wanted it to be poured concrete, done the right way for driveways.
So that's been improved surface is
Yeah.
what it is, and that can be crushed, there also can be crushed gravel, dustless surfaces as well.
Can also remain grass if they put in the squares.
Correct.
Some
By
people
squares, I
like
think you're referring to the geotechnical,
the geo squares, yeah.
yeah.
Maybe they still want to have a little grass up there. It just can't be muddy, and that's why
Well,
we.
one day I'll show you a development we approved in Holland for geotechnical grass pavers that didn't work out the way they were supposed to work out.
Is there other?
I was just, my only concern was like, you know, I think the only thing I get in the mail anymore is junk mail. So if it doesn't like say my name, I used to throw it away. Now because it's the city, I would open it, but that was my concern, but it looks like it works because you sent out 118 letters and 95 came. So that was gonna be my question is, are you getting responses? Well, clearly.
And the envelopes that we send, it does have the City of Allegan logo and the address for City Hall. Granted, I mean, if anybody wanted to, they could print those out, but that would just be silly. But it's also got the phone number, so if you have questions on the form, you can call. It usually will go to the PD, and depending on what it is, they'll tell them to call me over here at City Hall. And we're really good about, you know, if they're working on getting the issue resolved, we'll give them an extension, you know. We do that quite a bit. And I know Tyler, Officer Gorby, does a lot of the follow-ups on the stuff that doesn't get handled initially. So he'll go and he'll talk to the property owners, be like, hey, you had this time to do this, why isn't it done? Or help them with the process. Sometimes if it's blight and they have a bunch of junk, he'll even take them out to the DPW garage to get rid of some of it. So we're just trying to make it so it's easier for people to be able to do things, but also not be on them, hound them all the time, you know, because everybody has lives, they've got things going on. You know, you can't just be harsh on people all the time.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate you working with people. Needed.
Are there other comments, questions from council or staff? I'm seeing none. Anything else you guys wanted to cover? No. All right, thank you. I'm going to move down to agenda item number 13, which is the second public comment of the evening. If you have any comments for council, please approach the podium and state your name and address. Right, I am not seeing anyone. All right, I'm going to move down to agenda item number 14, which is communications from the city manager. Joel, do you have anything additional
Yeah,
tonight?
just real quick, sidewalk sales, Saturday, July 26th. Mayor Perigo informed me that there is a family obligation that she has to attend to that day, so she won't be able to work the shift she signed up for. Right now, we have one slot that isn't filled by any council member, so I'm going to pass this around one more time. They are not 3-hour slots, they are only 2-hour slots, so you'll see on the far left-hand side, I wrote the times down when I found those out from Parker this afternoon. So please look at that and pass it around. And then that is all I have.
All right, thank you. Agenda item number 15 is roundtable discussion from council and mayor. Councilmember Canales, anything tonight? All right, Councilmember Hooker, anything additional?
I don't think so, thanks.
All right. Councilmember Zeter,
Not at this time.
Councilmember Westover,
I'm all set, thanks, Mayor.
Councilmember Walker.
Just Mohammed and Ryan, I think Ryan left, but that was laid out really well, easy to understand, so it was good, thanks.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Hance.
Only one thing, but Parker's not here, so I'll have to address it maybe later, is as the 250-year of the country comes up next year, have we started developing plans and looking for sponsors for next year's Jubilee?
Yes. We have.
So, just checking, because, yeah, I'd like to see what the plans and budget and what you guys thinking and how we're outreaching to try to get sponsorships and things like that.
Sure, yeah, we'll give you guys an update.
So we didn't have a Positively Allegan update because we didn't have a quorum, but we did discuss that. So maybe the next time we'll get into it more, but.
Okay. I just wanted to share, I went to my first Wellhead Committee meeting that Doug Swiris leads up, and just something that I thought I wanted to share with council. With the grant funding that he is getting, there's going to be 2 interpretive signs that he's been working on with a sign company. One will be kind of behind mugshots where the Water Street boardwalk is, and it will be looking across where our where all our drinking water comes from. So there will be an interpretive sign there so people know what that is. And then there will be another one that's on the riverfront that is kind of, and I wish I had brought it, but I drove a different vehicle. But it'll be a sign kind of that just talks through life cycle of water and wells and things like that. So yeah, so look for those to go up. But besides that, that is all I had. Moving down to agenda item number 16A is closed session per MCL 15.268, Section 8A for the periodic personnel evaluation of a public officer or employee. And I believe I need a motion to go into that closed session.
And a roll call vote.
All right.
I'll make a motion to go into closed section per MCL 15.268, Section 8A.
Second.
All right. It's been moved and supported.
Councilmember Zeter.
Yes.
Councilmember Westover.
Yes.
Councilmember Walker.
Yes.
Councilmember Canales.
Yes.
Councilmember Hooker.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hands.
Yes.
Mayor Perigo.
Yes.
Sorry, I was going to ask if we could have a brief 5-minute break before we went into it.
Oh.
That I was trying. It went fast. I don't know how that works.
We're in closed session right now, so everyone has to leave the room that's not invited to stay, which is only council and myself. And then, yeah, I'm gonna go walk out for about 5 minutes too.